Wow, stories.
My husband invites his nephew to live with us without asking, and I'm ready to walk out with our kids. But instead, I turn the tables and make sure his parents can't ditch their son, while we save our marriage and set up a trust fund. Large update. This might be the last update on the post, so I will try to make sure and address everything. I spoke with my husband and expressed my concerns, and even the concerns that were brought up by all of you. My husband was very understanding on what I had to say. The biggest thing I got across is that this is about my nephew. Everybody in the family is focused on other things, when we all should be focused on my nephew and his need for a stable home environment. My husband completely agreed. As of now, neither my husband nor I have any details or info on what the family wants. We don't know if they want us to actually take him permanently from today or what. We have no idea. We are right now just watching him. But it will be reaching out to my mother-in-law, MIL, today so that there is no gray area. I put down the fact that I will not let nephew move in until my husband, mother-in-law, father-in-law, Phil, and brother-in-law, Bill, have a table meeting, and we are at the least given an appropriate living situation, as I don't think it's okay that nephew does not have his own private space where we currently live. Until we get this sorted out, my husband and I are dedicated to do everything we can to make sure nephew knows we love him and he is welcome and safe. I want to let everyone know that this is an issue with the adults in this family and their lack of responsibility and maturity, and that I in no way want my nephew to know the extent or stress of these adult issues. I care about him deeply, and when I made this post originally, I was very stressed and upset, and may have worded things incorrectly or not elaborately enough. I appreciate everyone for their advice, and I cannot say enough thank yous. I'm going to do everything I can to keep him safe and happy. And if that means he needs to stay with us, he is welcome. But I'll be damned if I don't do everything I can to make sure we get what we need to give him his best life. Thank you all again. Small update. I want to let everyone know that I've read all your comments, regardless of their score, and I've taken everything you all have said into consideration. I've just gotten off work, and I'm hoping to discuss this with my husband as soon as we are both able to. Again, I appreciate everyone's input and taking the time to help me. I'm trying to respond to comments that have more questions, and I'll update the post again once we've come to a conclusion. Right now, this is a crossroad for our relationship, and I don't know what I can do about it. We have 3 young daughters, and that was my limit for kids. I am our primary earner. I work about 50+ hours a week while he stays with the younger kids and works from home. I barely get to see my own children as it is, as I also work nights. Mother-in-law and father-in-law have raised nephew since he was a newborn. His father, my husband's brother, is in the picture. He just doesn't want to take care of nephew. He's let mother-in-law be mommy for the past 9 years. As of now, mother-in-law and father-in-law are divorced. Both have a new boyfriend, girlfriend, and are exhibiting that they don't want to be the parents to nephew anymore. Tonight, my brother-in-law came over, asked if nephew could stay the night because he had stuff to do and couldn't watch him. Then just casually brought up that mother-in-law and father-in-law don't want to take care of him anymore, and that if my husband and I took him, brother-in-law would pay us $1,000 a month. Of course, this was about an hour before I had to leave for work, and I gave my husband the look of, "Don't say a word," and kindly said, "It's okay if nephew stays the night tonight, but my husband and I need to have a serious discussion about taking him in." After I left for work, I called my husband very upset and said, "We needed to have a discussion, but I am in no way comfortable taking in another child when we already have 3 of our own. And when he has a father who is capable of taking care of him, he just doesn't want to." My husband says, "Yeah, but $1,000 a month is a lot of money." And I said, "I didn't care about the money, it's the principle, and I don't think it's something I'm willing to do." But my husband stood his ground, pretty much saying he's going to do it. We don't have room for nephew, he'd have to sleep on the couch. Our girls have their own bathroom and closet, and bringing a 9-year-old boy to live with 3 young girls isn't something I want to do at all. So my question is, what options do I have? Can my husband still take in my nephew even if I say no? We live in an apartment and my name is on the lease. I pay bills and provide for our family. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, damn, that sucks for the kid. He's truly going to be messed up. Even the fact that your husband is thinking mostly about the money. Even if you all took him in, it's clear you all wouldn't make him feel welcome. I don't have advice because I do think technically your husband can bring him in without your consent. But damn, I sure feel bad for that kid. Awful, awful, awful. Edit. Just want to add that the fact you're only 23 makes all of this more ridiculous in my opinion. You can't be expected to take on another child. His family is messed up. You all need to take his dad to court. Whoever ends up with the child should be getting more than $1,000. Comment 2, how are you 23 with 3 children yourself and you are the bread maker? How old are your children? How does your husband not understand that it costs way more money to raise a child than $1,000 per month? If he's the SAHP, doesn't he manage the household budget? It may be time to lay down some uncomfortable truths for your husband and his family. You have no business being responsible for all of them. If your husband isn't on board, then tell him he'll be sleeping with the boy on the couch. So he better get really comfortable out there. If you don't put your foot down right now, you will never get out from under this. Now for the update. Thanks for all the comments and advice you've given. Things have escalated since my last update. The situation with my nephew turned our home into a battleground. After the last conversation with my husband, I thought we were on the same page about not taking in my nephew without a proper plan. But I was wrong. My husband went behind my back and promised my brother-in-law that we would take my nephew in. He even shook hands on a deal to accept the $1,000 a month without telling me. I found out when I overheard him on the phone, confirming arrangements with brother-in-law. I felt betrayed. My husband, the man I trusted to stand with me, had sold us out for money. It was a slap in the face, considering all the hours I put in at work to keep our family afloat. I confronted him as soon as he hung up. The argument was heated, and I won't lie, I was furious. He tried to justify his actions by saying it was for the family, but I couldn't see past the betrayal. It wasn't just about the money or the space. It was about respect and partnership, which he had shattered. The aftermath was messy. I demanded that he call brother-in-law and retract the offer. He refused, saying he couldn't go back on his word. That's when I made a choice that would change everything. I told him if he went through with this, I would take the girls and leave. I couldn't stay in a marriage where my voice didn't matter. He must have seen the determination in my eyes because he finally agreed to talk to brother-in-law. But the damage was done. Trust, once broken, isn't easily repaired. We're sleeping in separate rooms now, and the tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. In the midst of this, my mother-in-law called. She had heard about the argument and wanted to mediate. I agreed, hoping we could finally sort this out. But the meeting was a disaster. Mother-in-law revealed that she and father-in-law had been planning to move abroad with their new partners and had been pushing brother-in-law to find a solution for my nephew. It was a shock. They had been planning this for months and hadn't bothered to tell anyone. The family was falling apart at the seams. I was angry, not just for myself, but for my nephew, who was being treated like a problem to be solved rather than a child who needed love and stability. In the end, I took action. I reached out to a family lawyer to understand our rights and responsibilities. The lawyer was clear. Without legal guardianship, we weren't obligated to take in my nephew. Armed with this information, I sat down with my husband and laid out the facts. It was a tough conversation, but it needed to happen. We decided to call a family meeting, including brother-in-law, mother-in-law, and father-in-law. I made it clear that if they wanted us to consider taking in my nephew, they needed to provide a clear plan for his future, including his education, health care, and emotional well-being. The meeting was tense, but it ended with the decision to create a trust fund for my nephew's needs, with contributions from all adults involved. As for my husband and me, we're in counseling. It's not easy, but we're trying to rebuild what was broken. I'm still hurt, but I'm hopeful that we can find our way back to each other.